Hi everybody, it's Alex at Belade Sports. Today I want to share with you my EG6, my SIR right-hand drive EG6, and what I am going to be doing is creating a new brake upgrade for my own car. And I want to share what I've done and how I came about to making this upgrade. Right now, what you can see right here, it's on the Spoon Twin Block. The Spoon Twin Block with a Mini Cooper rotor. And a lot of you guys may or may not know that if you use a 2007 Mini Cooper base rotor, it is a 4x100 rotor, which we can mount directly onto our Civic EG and then be able to use a twin block because that was originally for the Integra Type R or the EK9 Type R. And we didn't have that one for a 4x100. So anyways, moving on, I'm going to take off this wheel and I'm going to show you a brake kit that I made to make this a 12-inch rotor while still using the Spoon Twin Block. So let me take this wheel off. So if you look at the diameter, you'll see that this is a 282 millimeter rotor, which is about 11 inches. And what I did was I created a whole new brake system to utilize the Spoon Twin Block and with a bigger rotor. And you may have seen in a previous video that I did a two-piece rotor that is also 300 millimeter, 12 inches, about 300 millimeter. And I made a two-piece rotor and I used a spoon to be able to fit a spoon monoblock, which is a great setup. There's a couple things I didn't like about that setup though, because of the fact that the spoon monoblock, you have to buy a whole nother caliper to do that. And then you have to buy the rotor kit to be able to match and so on and so forth. So a lot of us out there, like myself, already have the Spoon Twin Block and we're already set up, and we don't necessarily feel like buying a whole new caliper just to have a 1-inch bigger diameter rotor. We do sell it, but I thought of a better way. In fact, a more convenient way is how I'd put it, to be able to run a 12-inch rotor and still utilize the same twin block. If you look at this, is my original idea. I marketed I'd say about a month ago, where I made this rotor 4x100 and 5x114 to be able to fit on both cars, a Civic EG with 4x100 or an Integra Type R with a 5x114, and you use a Spoon Twin Block and you just mount it up. There's a couple things I didn't like about that. After going through both the Spoon Twin Block and the Spoon Monoblock, the Spoon Monoblock is a lot fatter of a caliper than the Spoon Twin Block. So then wheel clearance is a little bit more of an issue. The Spoon Twin Block uses an Integra DC2 Type R brake pad, which the Spoon Monoblock uses an RSX Type S or a S2000 brake pad. If you look at the brake pads, this is the Integra Type R and this is the S2000 brake pad. The S2000 brake pad is a lot smaller. I'd say about by like 25% smaller than the Integra Type R. I've documented this a few times already when talking about the S2000 brake pads for a brake kit for S2000s. See, it's a lot smaller. So yes, going with that 300 millimeter rotor and a Spoon monoblock is nice. It looks really nice, but technically you're going with a smaller brake pad than what you already had if you were a customer that already had purchased the Spoon Twin Block. It'd be nice, it's nice to have the extra 1 inch of rotor size, which is 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch there, but you kind of compromise a little bit by going with a smaller brake pad. So that means you have less contact patch. So to make this better, I created a new back half of the Spoon Twin Block. with a longer ear profile than the original. You can look at it right here. I made an identical twin block of the back half of this Spoon Twin Block with a longer ear profile, so that way it can mount up with a larger rotor. This is the new twin block, back half of the twin block that I made. Again, showing you again, you can see the difference in the profile, the ear profile right there. You see, it's like longer right here than the original Spoon Twin Block. So again, I really wish Spoon would have just made the twin block fit like a different version that could just fit like the way the monoblock did. But you know, instead they just went with a whole new design and went with a monoblock, which is great caliper. But just certain things I wish could be better, like the brake pad. You know, the brake pad being using the same Integra Type R brake pad versus this S2000 brake pad. And I'm not sure why they decided that. It's just, I would imagine more braking power would be better, since that's what the whole point of doing a BBK and a brake upgrade is to get more stopping power. So first, we have to take apart and disassemble our twin block. And to do that, you got to take out all the bolts right here. I kind of took them out already. And you got to take out this front brake line. So I kind of loosened everything up so I can do this quickly here. So take out the brake line, undo your bolts. I took those ones out already. Take out these Allen bolts. Take out this last Allen bolt, and then the twin block should come apart, just like that. Okay, here's a close-up of both back halves of the Spoon Twin Block and the new casted block that I had made with the longer ears. You could see the difference really well here versus one versus the other. You see these ears are just so much longer to be able to handle a bigger brake rotor, a 300 millimeter brake rotor. And if you wanted to, everything is interchangeable. This bracket, you can change over to this side. This piston, you can change over to this side, to this block. I provide everything just the way you see it, like this. Bleeder, everything. But if you, for authenticity of the Spoon Twin Block, you're able to use all these pieces, all the guts off of the Spoon Twin Block, the original, and stick into this caliper block. And then mate it with this front half of the Spoon Twin Block. I understand everybody's gonna say, hey, the color is a little bit different. I'm working on that to try to get the color as on the anodizing as close as possible. Right now, this is the color that I ended up with on this first caliper set. But again, gonna work on that to try to get the color matching a lot better. You can see the shade is a bit different. But the good thing is this is gonna be in the back, so you don't see it as much. You see this front side. So, you know, it's up to you. You know, I'm just basically giving us more option on a very old, probably 20-plus-year-old design on these Spoon Twin Blocks. So give it an upgrade. So again, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick in the bolts into the Spoon Twin Block, the front part. Just going to bolt these up. Now, when on the car, I'm gonna give these a nice torque down. But now I have a new essentially a new caliper I could use on a bigger rotor. This is the Spoon brake line. Like I said before, everything is interchangeable from the old caliper to the new. Give me a minute to thread these in. So now that I have this all assembled, I can show you what the difference is between these two rotors, okay? There's benefits to both of these rotors and negatives to both of these rotors, and I'm gonna go through these. This one is a Jaguar rotor, and you can see right here, here's the part number if you need it. It is a 5-lug brake rotor that we had to re-drill. Now, please forgive me, this was just for display. We kind of just really mucked this up a little bit, but just to get it to fit, to make sure that everything was straight to begin with. We re-drilled 4x100. You can see these, not the prettiest thing. And the problem with this rotor is it has the center bore is only 63.6 millimeters. He says right there, 63.6, versus the center bore on a Civic is 64.1. So my guy didn't do the prettiest job, and he just basically bored this out real quick. And you know, you'd want to do this a lot nicer, like at a machine shop, and you know, basically cut out 1 millimeter and re-drill this. You could re-drill this by hand to a 4x100. You know, if you use like a template from you know, a rotor hub. I'm sorry, like a wheel hub, and stick it in the middle. If you bore this and stick it in the middle, that you could do as a drill press. I'll show you a video clip where we did that. So this is the Jaguar rotor that we re-drilled. Again, please forgive me for the crude, you know, the crude drilling and modification to this rotor. This is not exactly how we would want you to do this. This is just for display, okay? You would want to do this at a machine shop to open up the center bore, and then if you want to re-drill the 4x100, however you want to do it, that's up to you. I'm just providing you with the actual rotor part number so you can do that on your own. This is a great rotor. It's everything we need. It's 24 millimeter thickness. It is, you know, after modification, 4x100, and fits the brake pads very nicely. Just slides right in. The one thing I don't like about this setup, there's about 3 millimeters of brake pad overhang. And I don't like that. You know, it's okay. It's, you know, it's not gonna hurt anything running like this. You know, you can do that, but you know, there's just some drawbacks. I don't like the fact that we have to modify the center hub or the center bore a little bit. Re-drilling the 4x100 is already kind of a little bit, you know, troublesome for some people. So that's what I don't like. You got about 3 millimeters of pad overhang. So that's why I'm giving you guys the part numbers. You can make your own choice and do whatever you like. So you see that? Bigger rotor. Then this is the Mini Cooper rotor. About 1/2 inch bigger on each side. 1 inch total diameter. And there you have it. You can kind of see the pad overhang right here. Let me get the camera closer here. You can see the pad overhang right there. Not bad. Fits nicely. You got plenty of room right here. But I want to show you the other rotor from the Ford and Mazda that I think is a bit better. This other brake rotor comes from, I believe it was a Ford and a Mazda. They both use the same rotor. And this one is a 303 millimeter rotor, but it's a bit thicker. It's 26 millimeter thicker versus the other rotor is a 24 millimeter rotor. But here's the part number. And then same thing, this one's also 5x114, 5 lug, but we re-drilled it to 4x100. But the benefit of this one is it has a bigger 72 millimeter center bore, so you could use a hub-centric ring to be able to fit on as an adapter to get this rotor to be hub-centric. So this one is the Mazda Ford rotor that is 303 millimeters, a little bit bigger. Let me show you the part number there. That's the part number. It's 303 millimeters in diameter, and the center hub is 72 millimeters right here. So that means I could just get a hub-centric ring and get this nice and center to make sure that I don't have any issues, because we are re-drilling to 4x100, and one hole needs to be just basically elongated, and then you make 3 other holes. Now I'm going to stick this caliper on. This one fits a lot better than the other caliper. Let me grab the camera here. I'm sorry, a lot better than the other rotor because of the pad overhang. We got like 303. I think we probably could have gone 306 to get it a little bit more flush, but to be honest, I couldn't find one. It was so hard to find these rotors in general that's a very, very small amount of pad overhang. I think I got about 1 millimeter. Even with the Mini Cooper rotor on the Spoon Twin Block, there was a little bit of pad overhang, just a little bit. But this one is a lot nicer, easier to deal with, so not have to open up the hub center. I found on Amazon, and I'll show that in the part number for that. On Amazon, a 72 millimeter hub centric ring that shrinks down to 64.1, so that way it fits our EGs perfectly. And there you go. And then I'm going to stick on the gate on the back real quick. Like I said before, you can use everything, all the hardware, the bleeder, the pistons. You can use everything from your original Spoon Twin Block calipers, to keep the authenticity. I'm going to offer everything completed, just in case you don't have the ability to take things apart. You want to use it, it doesn't matter to me. It'll have pistons, it has the bleeder, and it'll be this back half block, so that way you can use. So get a close up again. Now, here's what everybody's probably asking, and I wanted to know myself, but I pretty much already know the answer, because before, when I did my 2-piece rotor with the Spoon monoblock, I showed it could fit a 15-inch rotor. I'm sorry, it could fit a 15-inch wheel. This is my 15 by 7 MF10L plus 40 offset. So I'm getting in the way of the camera, so you'll be able to see. As you can see, we're still able to fit a 15-inch wheel, which is great. I'm going to show you another wheel. So you have reference, just like I did last time. A lot of people have T37s too. I've been seeing more and more of them on Civics. This one as well. This one is, let's see, I'm gonna read on the back here. 15 by 6.5 plus 20. So I'm sure, depending on which wheel you have, you're gonna have to figure out, you know, BBK clearance. It's close, especially with a 15-inch, but it's doable. And there you have a usable version of the Spoon Twin Block on a 303 millimeter rotor. Or you can go with the other rotor that I gave you the part number for, and that's 300 millimeter. A little bit of pad overhang, nothing wrong with that. But the whole point is, this is getting the best of both worlds, essentially. You get to keep the Spoon Twin Block that you already have, if you do have one, upgrade to a bigger disc. These discs are easily available at any parts store, so that's versatility is a bonus. And you get to use the stock brake pads that you already have. The DC2 brake pads, which I already went over, is bigger than the Spoon monoblock brake pad that uses the S2000 brake pad or DC5. So I hope you guys like it. This is my take and version on getting us a bigger brake upgrade for our older Civics and or Civics 4x100 Civics. But this, oh, one last thing I wanted to mention. Between the two rotors, this one is the Jaguar rotor part number. This one is the one that's on here, the Ford Mazda part number. This is one big difference. This Jaguar, the other one, the 300 millimeter rotor that I found, is not a 5x114. It's 5x107.95, so it doesn't fit a 5 lug from a Honda that's a 5x114. This one, the current one that's on here, is a 5x114. So if you're not even a 4 lug and you're doing this on a 5 lug converted Civic or Integra, you don't even have to re-drill this rotor. You could just run it the way it is. It's a 5x114 already. So makes this brake rotor much more beneficial. Not as much pad overhang as the other one. So 303 millimeter. The last thing I wanted to mention, this one's 26 millimeter thickness. So it's a little bit too thick. So what I did do is I went down the street to a mechanic shop and I just had them turn down the rotor a little bit, so that way you had a little bit more room for the brake pads. And that's it. Hope you guys like it. Thank you.